My goodness, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Norman Jr. is back. It's what the world, the boxing world, is all raving about right now, ladies and gentlemen. And so am I. But I still got a couple questions here for Brian Norman Jr. First of all, let me say this first. Brian Norman Jr. looked absolutely fantastic against Josh Wagner yesterday. Completely outclassed the man. I'll be honest with you, I thought Josh Wagner looked for a way out the second he got hit with one huge left hook from Brian Norman Jr. Being trained under Ronnie Shields now, the duo got their first win together, leaving his father, Brian Norman Sr., to train under Ronnie Shields. He looked fantastic. A great jab, great combination punching, great shot selection, wasn't rushing anything. Looked like an elevated fighter. He did look a lot more technically sound. Not as twitchy, but more fluid in Brian Norman Jr. But I do have a question, and I say to myself, was that due to the fact that within this last 6 to 7 months, that he's been training under Ronnie Shields, is what we seen yesterday a completely different Brian Norman Jr.? The performance that he put on yesterday against Josh Wagner and training under Ronnie Shields, did he just get that much better? Ladies and gentlemen, don't get me wrong. It definitely looks like Ronnie Shields polished this dude up. But is it enough to come back and automatically fight Devin Haney in a rematch and beat him, like Brian Norman Jr. says that he wants to do?
What's next for you? What do you think you deserve next? Do you want that Haney rematch, or are you on to better things?
Do I want anything poppy? You know what I'm saying? Of course, I want that fight, but be real. You think that's real likely? You know what I'm saying? So, shoot, pass way back to the belt, pass way back to the rematch. I'm down for it.
I don't necessarily think Josh Wagner was on the same skill level as Devin the Dream Haney. Was it a matter of him just getting that much better? Or is it a matter of the level of opponent that Brian Norman Jr. faced yesterday was on a completely different level, a lower level, than what Devin the Dream Haney is on? Because, first of all, Josh Wagner going into that fight, if you were one of those people that were thinking that he was going to give Brian Norman Jr. some problems, it was only due to the fact that he was a lot bigger. The dude's almost 6 feet, fighting in the welterweight division, a lot bigger. But if you watch technically, you did film, you did study, you study tape, you would see that Josh Wagner technically is not a sound fighter, isn't sound at all. Not even close to the same skill level as Brian Norman Jr. Technically, we knew Brian Norman Jr. was going to be far, far superior and a far, far high-level fighter than Josh Wagner. And that showed yesterday. Josh Wagner gets hit with a huge left hook, doesn't know what to do with shot. Brian Norman Jr. comes in with a beautiful shot selection, combination, punching. And down goes Josh Wagner, a man who should have been counted out right there. The ref should have ruled it done after the first knockdown. Josh Wagner wasn't looking to continue on with the fight. The 10 count could have been given to him, but the ref decided to prolong. Number 10, he decided to prolong it. Josh Wagner gets up, ends up getting dropped again. And this time it just looks like the dude just wants to get out of there. It looks like the pressure. He came in with a lot of confidence, don't get me wrong. But it looked like the pressure, the skill level, the second he figured out that Brian Norman Jr. was just that much better than him, Josh Wagner folded. He folded. It wasn't like Gene Sasaki. Gene Sasaki, who eventually got absolutely destroyed, had his memory erased for 2 goddamn months, at least tried to give Brian Norman Jr. a fight. Tried to unleash his own combinations. Was clipping Brian Norman Jr. at times. But Josh Wagner, all that size for nothing. The dude basically gave up because he knew he was outgunned. So I go back and I do more tape study on Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney. I look to see if what he did against Josh Wagner, did he try to do that against Devin Haney? Yes. There was times when Brian Norman Jr. tried to unleash the same amount of combinations, the same type of punches that he landed on Josh Wagner, on Devin Haney, but the difference was that Devin Haney wasn't there to be hit. Devin Haney's footwork, his head movement, his defense, his ring IQ was far, far superior than what you just witnessed against Josh Wagner. Far, far more superior. So did Brian Norman Jr. just get that much better? Or did he look like that? And of course, don't get me wrong, he got better with Ronnie Shields, bro. He got a lot more cleaner and a lot more polished than what he was with Brian Norman Sr. But it's what we witnessed yesterday also due to the fact that Josh Wagner was just a low level opponent. He tried to do the same type of stuff to Devin the Dream Haney. Of course, was more reckless, not as polished, but he couldn't. Devin Haney's defense was too good. So I hear him call out Devin Haney and say he wants that fight next, but Devin Haney probably ain't going to want that. I think that's a good thing here, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's smart for Brian Norman Jr. to not rush this Devin Haney rematch, but to get another fight in under Ronnie Shields. Continue to build, get some rounds in. You barely got some rounds in with a fighter that didn't even want to be in there, who probably went in there talking that crap, but had the mentality of, I'm getting that bag and getting the hell out of there. There's still questions to be asked about Brian Norman Jr. It was a fantastic win. Don't get me wrong. Shout out to Brian Norman Jr. He looks a lot more polished. But I want to see Brian Norman Jr. go against a little bit higher level of opponent. Because Josh Wagner, nah, bruh. Not even close to what Devin Haney is. But let me know what you guys think. This is the MMA Boxing Addict channel bringing it to you. And I'm out.